Welcome back.
Well, hello. How are you?
Happy New Year. I'm good.
How was your break?
My break was good. It was a little long. I had 2 weeks. You had a week, yes?
I had 7 days. I had the longest stretch of time I have ever had off in the decade I've had this job.
That is amazing.
Yes, it was fantastic.
Could you find a way to unplug? Are you okay at that?
No.
Yeah.
Not
I heard
at all.
you did some fishing.
I did. I
in
did some ice
Massachusetts.
fishing.
Ice fishing.
We had early ice in western Massachusetts, so I caught a chain pickerel and 6 yellow perch. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah.
Cheers.
I mean, I feel like that's not being a fisherman. That sounds good.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes. The perch were like about yay big, but you know, I catch fish that other people call bait.
Interesting.
Right, but
that's very nice.
Yes.
You're right at the bottom of the food chain. I recently heard that you also do fishing around here.
Yeah.
This is something you do after your show?
Yes, New York City is technically an island in the North Atlantic.
We don't think about it that much.
We don't think about it that way, but it is possible to go fishing and to get some good fishing in New York City. You can fish in Central Park, in the Harlem Mere, and in the reservoir and the ponds. But you can also fish the East River and the Hudson River. I sometimes fish the piers on the Hudson River, like after my show, to wind down.
That doesn't seem safe or good. Have you ever eaten a fish out of the Hudson River? Okay, gotcha.
No, I mean, I'm out there fishing after midnight. Like, the good news is that the fish glow.
Okay.
So if you catch one, it's very safe. All of a sudden, you've got illumination.
They glow like a neon do not eat.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. There's never, if you pull a fish out of the Hudson River, everything in your universe, every atom of your body says, put it back, put it back, put it back, put it back.
Right.
Like, there's no instinct kicks in that says, ingest
Right.
this.
Do the fish, have the fish of the Hudson River evolved to the point where they can say to you, don't put me back. Take me with you.
I want a contributor deal on MSNBC. Can you hook me up?
So this is, obviously, now we're back at work. It is 2020. It's an election year. There's an impeachment going on.
Yeah.
And obviously, we have the situation in Iran, which is escalating to the point that I know this is hard to even ask you to comment on, but we're taping before your show tapes at 9, and then this show will air after that, obviously. But there are reports of missiles being launched into Iraq right now, into near or into U.S. bases. Is that accurate from what you're hearing?
Again, initial reports, and it's hard to say because this will evolve over the course of the evening, but the thing about General Soleimani, who was killed, is that he was the head of the Quds Force. What the Quds Force did in Iran is that it projected Iranian military force all over the world, outside of their borders, mostly in the Middle East, but also in Latin America and in Africa and far afield. And so we really think of him as this guy who created the ability for Iran to wage asymmetric warfare all over the world. And that's really the kind of retaliation and retribution we've been expecting from Iran. But then yesterday, the Iranian leadership said, you know what? We plan to retaliate directly ourselves as the Iranian military from Iran because we don't need to hide this behind any proxy forces. We want you to know it's coming from us. And nobody quite knew what to make of that. That defied early expectations. And now today we've got these reports that, in fact, Iran they say they have shot ballistic missiles at multiple U.S. military facilities in Iraq. And we've got a lot of U.S. military personnel in Iraq, about 5,000 people there, as well as a lot of other American troops all over the Middle East. And so if they have been able to fire either missiles or rockets into Al-Assad and Anbar province in western Iraq or in Erbil in northern Iraq, that's a really big deal. The U.S. really started something here, and maybe that was strategically wise, but you have to hope that the people in charge really, really thought this through.
Now, this is people in charge before Trump have known that Soleimani was a bad guy and have made the decision not to take this step that he took. And one of the things, some of the reporting has been that he was presented with a list of options of how to respond to this recent Iranian aggression, and he chose the most extreme, which was to take out Soleimani. Do you think it's foolhardy for his advisors to ever give him an option that is so extreme that they think he won't take it?
Your take on this on your show last night I thought was actually perfect, which is like, you basically said, has anybody ever briefed these advisors on Donald Trump?
Yeah.
Because if you offer him a bunch of kind of normal ideas and one cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs idea, there's no reason to believe that cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs will seem at all different or less palatable to him.
Of course.
Especially
because he wants to be the guy who did the thing that nobody has done before,
Yes,
right?
right.
And so you want to be like, and this one's too crazy, no one's ever done it. You'd have to be like a super kick-ass guy to even like think about it. You'd be like, hold on, go back to that one.
But I mean, it isn't the first time with this, and these things have different levels of consequence. But no U.S. leader had ever thought it was a good idea to go hang out with the leader of North Korea.
Yeah.
With the dictatorial, messianic, cuckoo leader of North Korea. And Trump's like, nobody's done that?
Yeah.
I'm in love.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hang out with him. I'm going to go to North Korea. And, he gets this sort of surface level, I think, the cheers for that, for people who like him already. But there isn't any part of his head that thinks no other president has wanted to do this, probably for a reason.
Right.
And so something like this that other administrations had considered and rejected as being too risky for American national security, we haven't had an explanation as to why he thought this was worth it and why he did it now.
And as you mentioned, you hope that there's some core competence behind the decision and, preparing for the next steps.
Yeah.
But we have already seen some, I think it's fair to say, incompetence in the handling of this up to and including there was a press release. Not a press release. What would you?
It was a letter to Iraq telling them we were withdrawing.
Yes.
That was a mistake?
Yeah.
Oops, can we have that back? This is so freaking weird, I can't even believe it. I mean, it's one thing to think about something like this scooting its way out of the Oval Office, or Trump blurting it out in front of a whirring helicopter. But this was the actual Pentagon. This is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and the Secretary of Defense, and the two of them explaining within the past 24 hours that, yes, the U.S. military did deliver a formal letter on letterhead to Iraq saying, we respect your decision to tell us to leave. All our troops are leaving. But when we sent that letter, we didn't mean it. It was a mistake. It was a draft. Oops, I meant to hit recall and instead I hit send?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're an intern or if you're this president, we got it. But when you're the chairman of the Joint Chiefs,
yeah.
And so it just makes you worry that the incompetence that we expect, I think, at the level of the White House, even on national security matters, might now be extended to things as serious as the Defense Secretary and the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs. And that's really worrying. Also, in the 24 hours since that has evolved, Iraq has decided, well, listen, you sent the letter. No backsies.
Yeah.
We're keeping it. We consider you to have formally notified us that all U.S. troops are getting out of Iraq.
It is a sitcom plot of you sent the letter, we got to get the letter back.
Yeah. In Iraq,
send the SEALs to get the letter back. And they're creeping into the mailbox and
recall.